Some wrestlers who are probably never ever returning to WWE again. Like seriously, maybe a few of them still want to come back, but WWE just won't allow it anymore. If you watch wrestling YouTube content, then you probably know Maven. He's basically a wrestling YouTuber now, just like us. He used to be a WWE wrestler, but he became one of the first ex-WWE stars who actually started making this kind of content fans truly wanted to see. WWE backstage insights, politics, behind the scenes rehearsal, how blood spots are done in matches, how wrestlers prepare before shows. Literally everything fans were always curious about. And obviously, people don't trust him because, unlike us reading old articles or interviews, this guy actually lived inside WWE, and it's not like he was just a random jobber either. He reached a decent middle card level. He had a segments and matches with stars like Undertaker, Stone Cold, and he has even the first person to take Brock Lesnar's F5 in WWE. Now you might thinking, if he's doing such good work, then why won't WWE bring him back? Well, Maven himself made videos talking about how close he was to returning, why WWE released him, and what situations almost led to a comeback. But thing is, he has revealed way too much about WWE on YouTube. Not necessarily in a harmful way, but WWE usually prefers keeping distance from the people who openly expose backstage details. Now moving on to the next wrestler, Enzo Amore. If you watched WWE around 2016 to 2017, then you definitely remember him. He used to team with Big Cass and honestly had one of the loudest personality on the roster. But Enzo was also known for doing some really weird stuff. At one point, he literally bought a ticket and sat in the crowd during a WWE event after being released, and security had to remove him. So yeah, the guy always come off as a desperation for attention. And whenever WWE sees allegations or controversies involving abuses or inappropriate behavior connected to a wrestler, they usually don't want to associate with that person anymore. And Enzo honestly wasn't a huge enough star for WWE to overlook at all first. Now let's move on to the next wrestler, Brad Maddox. For people who don't know him, let me explain quickly. CM Punk and Ryback had a Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship. Everyone thought Ryback was finally going to destroy Punk and win the title. But then the referee of the match, Brad Maddox, suddenly low-blowed Ryback, helping CM Punk retain the championship. After that moment, Maddox became surprisingly popular and even became the general manager of Monday Night Raw later on. But eventually, some controversial videos connected to him surfaced online, and WWE immediately released him because of that situation. He is also someone who will probably never return. Now moving on to Mr. Kennedy.
Mr.
He even became Mr. Money in the Bank. But unfortunately, injuries completely ruined his momentum. Later, after leaving WWE, he openly criticized the company in interviews and while working in TNA. Still, I think there's at least a small possibility of him returning someday because many former WWE stars have criticized the company before and still ended up coming back later. The biggest example is CM Punk. If the issue is not only about business problems like bad booking, backstage politics, or not being treated properly, WWE sometimes ignores all that eventually. So Mr. Kennedy still has a tiny chance, but realistically speaking, he probably won't return either. Now let's talk about the big guy. Ryback. Oh man, this guy is something else. It honestly felt like he wanted to become Twitter's version of Goldberg, but none of it really worked out. Ryback himself has openly said many times that he wants to return, but when the company itself doesn't want you back, what can you really do? Honestly, if Ryback hadn't gone into all those trademark battles and constant fight with WWE, maybe they would have at least considered bringing him back one day. But now he has built such a negative image around himself that a WWE return feels almost impossible. And finally, the last name on this list is Alberto Del Rio. There was actually a time when he left WWE and later returned successfully. But after leaving again, things became much worse. He tried damaging WWE's image publicly many times, but most of the things backfired and ended up damaging his own reputation instead. And when someone constantly creates drama, controversies, a company like WWE usually doesn't want to be associated with them anymore. Smaller wrestling promotions might still welcome him, but WWE clearly has no interest in linking their name with Alberto Del Rio at this point. So yeah guys, these were the wrestlers who will most likely never return to WWE, but as always, never say never. That's basically the signature line in wrestling. So yeah, let's see what happens next.